And welcome to another edition of the Ray Guy and Rhoda podcast, powered by MGM Northfieldpark on the Press Play Podcast Network. The CEO is with us tonight. Chase Smith pinch hitting for Dave Emmert, producing this podcast so you all get it out there in the podcatosphere. And Michael, I thought we'd be doing a different type of podcast here this evening, as I actually picked the Browns to beat the Arizona Cardinals because I was not a believer in the Arizona Cardinals. And I was wrong. I'm not like Fonzie. I'm not afraid to say I was I was wrong on that. They are 6-0. I don't think they're the best team in the NFL, but they are the only undefeated team in the NFL after they destroyed the Cleveland Browns today, 37-14 at First Energy Stadium. Michael, they did it on the scoreboard. They did it mentally. They did it physically. It was an impressive performance by Arizona and a crappy performance by the Cleveland Browns.
Very disappointing. Extremely in regression today for the Cleveland Browns, Kenny, in a lot of different areas that they can't go into regression on, right, that we're going to get into right now, because we found out one thing. Now, you and I have known this for a long time, Sure, you make your evaluations and your analysis, but the NFL is unyielding, man. Ooh. Just because you had a good season a year ago, and you, me, 17 games this year, somewhere in the neighborhood of 11-6, right, and it'll be a playoff team. It's just not that easy in the world of professional football, Kenny. And so here Browns sit now after this performance today, and for me, extremely disappointing. Again, not just the final score, the components, man, that go into it, that put themselves in a position, again, offensively at times, I'm not sure what the hell they're trying to achieve. Going 4 and 5 wide in the first quarter to start the game. Look, I know you don't have Nick Chubb, but come on now, that offensive line and Kareem Hunt, you cannot all of a sudden lose confidence in what your bread and butter is. Didn't do that. And of course, Kevin Stefanski again, down 7-0. Kenny, does this guy have an aversion to kicking field goals in first quarters of games? I'm 4th and 1 here. Kenny, he doesn't kick field goals when it's 4th and 3 and 4th and 4 in the red zone. I do not understand it. And it's BS with that. I don't understand it, and it sets a bad tone right away, sets a bad feel. Now, listen, I'm not going to tell you kicks a field goal at 7-3, but Kenny, it evens you out a little bit. It gives you something positive. Don't know if that's going to be but you cannot continue to be chasing points when you don't kick field goals in the first quarter. I don't understand that. Defensively, Ken, Joe Woods.
Oh boy.
Whoa. What's Joe Woods looking to do?
He might be looking for a new job soon if he keeps this up. I'll tell you that much.
Is this all about, to me, I think it's more scheme related than it is personnel related to me. I'm not saying but so what, we got to say, Joe Woods is fine. So you mean this personnel then is this horrendous in what they are as NFL defenders? Kenny, this is getting bad. This is going in the wrong direction on that side of the ball. Deep breath. So there's a lot of things that, you had a 3-3 and they're fine by saying, well, look at what their next 5 games are. They should. And, you just can't do that in the NFL. Should they beat Denver? Right? Should they beat Pittsburgh? Right? Okay. You think, but come on, man. The standard of play, Ken, it's got to get way better than it is right now. And once again, to me, in the first quarter and the first half, it set the tone for a real bad day.
Michael, 84 points given up in the last 2 weeks. And we talked about stepping up against the better teams, right? Show us that you can play with at least or beat the better teams. And the 2 teams prior to this that we considered the better teams on their schedule were playoff contenders were the Kansas City Chiefs, who they lost. Oh, yeah, they gave up 33 points to them. And last week, the San Diego LA Superchargers, who they lost to, and they gave up 47 points to them as well. And now the Arizona Cardinals put up 37. So let me do some quick Baldwin Wallace math for you, Michael Brett Guy. Against the three good teams, that defense has given up 117 points in 3 games. Unacceptable, Michael. I don't care if they didn't play a damn snap together in the preseason or not. On paper, you look at who they have, supposed to be an upgrade over last year. We said, hey, we'll give Joe Woods a pass last year, right? They spent all the money, all the draft picks on the offense last year. Okay, Joe, let's get you some help this offseason and, show us what you can do. Well, Michael, you and I can go play defense and stop the Houston Texans. They suck. They're terrible. Okay. The Bears have gotten a little better since they played the Browns, but offensively, they're very below average in the National League football or the National Football League standards based on what we see through a lot of teams. So the 2 teams that were crappy offensively, the Browns held them under 10 points. Well, the 3 teams that they've lost to, like I said, 117 points in 3 games, Michael. And we're going to get to Baker and his 3 turnovers. And I told you, I'm one of those people that's not a full believer in him. And I'm starting to believe that even more. But defensively, this team has to get better if they are going to try and turn this season around and get back into the race, because right now, Baltimore's 5-1. The Browns are 3-3. They're 2 games back of the Ravens already, and they haven't played Baltimore head to head yet. So, this thing could come off the rails real quick because it's a quick turnaround for Thursday night. Luckily, they're playing the Denver Broncos, who aren't very good. I don't know who's going to be in uniform for the Browns, though.
Well, that's another thing that we'll get into. Right. I mean, now it's becoming just injury plagued. That is really tearing away at the core. And it goes to show you, this isn't like, when you recruit real well in college football, Kenny. We know, look, every football team, there's a fall off from your, let's say, even top, we'll add a couple, your top 14, 15 offensive players and your top 14, 15 defensive players, right? Now you get beyond that and there's a fall off now. There's a fall off. So you start the day today without Jack Conklin, right?
Yep.
And without Jed Wills. And I'm sorry. I mean, I started feeling wow. James Hudson? Oh, boy. Oh, no.
Got a long way to go.
Right? No. And having to deal with J.J. Watt today.
Did you see Watt on the side? He can't block me. He was mouthing that. We could read his lips. He can't block me.
He can't block me. He said it. Looked right into the camera, knew the camera was on him, and said it. He's right. He's right about that.
Yeah.
Like Hance is being asked to move in on the other side. So, you don't have those 2 bookendo tackles. But hey.
And don't forget, Chris Hubbard's out too, who would normally be filling in for one of those 2 positions.
That's right. But if you're waiting, Browns fans, for anybody to feel sorry for you or the football team, come on now. That ain't happening. So it's got to get taken care of. All of that having said, now Kenny will get into the Mayfield turnovers today. Kenny, again, this defense, something's got to change. Something's got to change in a big hurry. Because what did those numbers you just gave, right, man? So the Browns against the 3 teams that are the best 3 of the 6 they've played, they're 0-3, man.
Yep.
They're 0-3. They haven't won a football game. These are the teams you're going to start that are probably going to be playoff teams, correct?
Yes.
I'm going to assume, right? Kansas City, right? Going to be a playoff team, we know. I mean, with a 6-0 start, Arizona's going to have to completely collapse to not be a playoff team. And again, now, the LA Superchargers, as you like to call them, I'm going to say they'll be a playoff team too.
Even though they got whacked today.
They did.
They're still going to be a playoff
they did.
Team.
Yeah, probably. But the point is, against the 3 of the best 6 teams they played, they're 0-3. They're 0-3. And giving up an average, those numbers you gave probably average, I think about 34 a game they're giving up. And you and I have talked about this before too. I don't care how good your offense is. If you think that every game that you got a shot to win 3 of every 4 of them in that type of game like the Browns played last week against those Chargers, if you're going to just win, well, we'll win 45-42 if we have to. Baloney. No, don't start feeling that that's what you got as your ace in the hole. Well, if we have to do it offensively, no, it's not going to work that way. It really isn't for anybody in the NFL. This league's too good. It'll bring you to its knees, your knees. If you start trying to feel like you've got things figured out. Well, the Browns don't have anything figured out right now. And Kenny, Joe Woods. You and I got to figure out: is this more about Joe Woods' scheme and the position he's putting his players into defensively with game plans? Or is it leaning more toward these players themselves just ain't getting the damn job done?
Yeah. That's the big question. What is the problem? I mean, Michael and DeAndre Hopkins wide open in the end zone again. Talk about a blown coverage. You lack of communication. What we have here is failure to communicate. Remember that from Cool Hand Luke? Well, It's obvious that the Browns have that same problem. And it happened again. Last week it was Mike Williams. This week it was DeAndre Hopkins. And Mike, they can't get off the field on third down. I'm looking at my phone right here at the play-by-play, that first drive for the Arizona Cardinals, 3rd and 6 at the Arizona 30-yard line. You get off the field there, you force them to punt, maybe get decent field position. It is 0-0 game. Who knows what happens? 3rd and 6 at the Arizona 30-yard line. Edmonds, 40-yard run. Take the ball into Browns territory. And then what happens? 3rd and 19 at the Cleveland 21-yard line.
Wasn't that a beauty?
And Christian Kirk catches a pass from Kyler Murray for a touchdown on 3rd and 19. They were 3 for 3 on third down in that opening drive. They finished 8 of 15 on third down, did Arizona. 1 of 1 on fourth down. They can't get off the field, meaning the Browns defense, and that is a major, major problem.
It really is. And that's what I mean. That's the ones, okay, at times 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2.
Right.
Ken, you just laid it out.
Yeah.
I stopped counting today after they converted. Meaning Kyler Murray in Arizona. They converted a 3rd and 8. They converted a 3rd and 9. They converted a 3rd and 12. And they converted, as you said, the 3rd and 19 for a touchdown. Now, how the hell do you expect to win football games if you can't get off the field on 3rd and long? I mean, it's a pipe dream. It's not going to happen. You have to have on 3rd and 8 or more, Ken, defensively, you've got to have close about a 7, or you should have about a 70%, right?
Yep.
Get off the field there at 3rd and 8 or more. I just gave you 4 the Browns gave up over 3rd and 8. As Kenny said, one of them's for damn 6 points, a touchdown. 3rd and 19. Well, I want to, you and I, again, because I'm starting to think this got a lot of Joe Woods bad fingerprints on this, Ken.
I'm leaning that way too, Rich. I still don't like the linebacking core on this team. There's nobody on this team I think is worth a damn, to be honest with you, linebacker-wise. Yeah, none. Anthony Walker. You may not
be wrong there.
Overrated Anthony Walker. Reminds me of DeQuell Jackson a little bit, and he'll make plays at the line of scrimmage, but nothing behind the line of scrimmage, or he'll make plays down the field, get a tap. So, and granted, I know they only used 2 of them. Well, then, okay, what about the corners today? Now, there were some bullshit, I'll say it again, bullshit penalty calls on the Browns, right? Pass interference calls, I thought. And then they didn't get the benefit of the doubt on the offensive end, but you can't let that dictate the outcome of a game. You've got to be able to overcome or put yourself in better position so the referees aren't there to maybe make those calls. So the secondary too now, Michael, is supposed to be upgraded, right?
Well,
Johnson.
You bring John Johnson in. You bring Troy Hill in. You got Grant Delpit and Greedy Williams back for you. Young players that you've drafted the last couple years. Where is the improvement?
Yeah, I don't.
Are you seeing market improvement? Can you tell me where it is? I don't see it.
I know, but what's his name? Clowney had his 2nd sack today, and Garrett or Myles Garrett got one, but that's 2 plays. Okay. 2 plays. There's got to be more plays being made on the defensive. They lose the turnover battle 3-0 today, and they had a chance to pounce on a few fumbles when Kyler Murray couldn't handle the snap but failed to do so. So you lose the turnover battle 3-0, you're more than likely going to lose that game 90% of the time. You just are, right?
No question about it. And you get yourself in a 20-0 hole. 20-0 hole before he put any points on the board. Again, Kevin Stefanski, no. When it's 7-0 and 4th and 4, kick the damn field goal, put points on. It's the first quarter, man. You're not going to win or lose. It's the first quarter. But what it does, Ken, it can even you out. It can get you a feel good, a positive. Now it's 7-3. And again, we don't know. Nobody's got a crystal ball, but I know I'm kicking the damn field goal. I know most NFL head coaches are going to kick the field goal there.
Here's what I'll say before we go to break, Reg. If it's 0-0 or you're ahead, fine, go for it there. I don't have a problem with it. I like the aggressiveness in that situation. Again, I think this is like deja vu all over again. They were behind. Kick the field goal, get the points, and move forward from that point. And we'll
even yourself out a little bit.
Exactly.
Have a positive. Yeah. Even yourself out. 7-3. Everybody feels a little better. All right, we got points on the board, right?
Yep. But absolutely.
And Kenny, too, don't tell me one thing I'm not going to budge on either. There's he's doing this on 4th and 3 and 4th and 4.
Yeah.
It's not 4th and a half yard or 4th and 1.
Right.
Look at
the Chargers. They were doing the same thing. It's that young analytical approach with these coaches who there's some chart probably like there was that draft chart from Jimmy Johnson. There's some chart that says you're better off going for it. And if you only get it 1 out of 2 times, that's 7 points instead of kicking 2 field goals, which is 6 points.
Well, okay.
And that's their approach.
He's 0 for 2 right now, Ken. He's 0 for 2 right now. So he got no points. None.
And we have a good kicker this season. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
we have a kicker who can kick and make kicks.
Yeah.
Well,
his name's Chase. I know.
Yeah, Chase talking about Chase. Yeah. There you go. Well, let's do this, guys. Let's get a break in. And when we come back, we got to talk about Baker. We got to talk about the injuries because they were a factor today, and they could be a factor in a short week coming up on Thursday when they host the Denver Broncos. We'll do all of that when the MGM Northfield Park Reg-I and Rhoda podcast continues right after this.
Hi, this is Maria Gincola with Mindful MMJ Ohio. Did you know that medical marijuana has been legal in Ohio since 2016? If you have one of 25 qualifying medical conditions, you can obtain your medical marijuana card today. The most common conditions are chronic pain, including migraines and back or joint pain, PTSD, fibromyalgia, spinal cord disease or injury, and cancer. If you or someone you know is interested in learning more or to find out if you qualify, visit mindfulmmjohio.com and fill out the short pre-qualification form. The process of finding a physician, filling out paperwork, obtaining medical records, and scheduling an appointment seems like it would be a daunting process for most. But, lucky for you, Mindful MMJ Ohio will help you every step of the way to make the process quick and easy. In most cases, we can approve a qualified patient within 24 hours. And the visit is virtual, so you don't even have to leave home. So what are you waiting for? Visit mindfulmmjohio.com today. That's mindfulmmjohio.com. Let us help you be more mindful of your health and find a natural way to find relief from your symptoms.
Hey everyone, I'm Holly Wetzel.
And I'm Jeremy Powell.
And we are your hosts of The Orange is Oranger, a Cleveland Browns podcast on the Press Play Podcast Network. We give you all the dog pound coverage that you'll need each week to get you ready for kickoff and beyond.
Don't miss our breakdowns of each week's matchups, game recaps, and any and all news out of Berea to feed your Browns appetite. As we all know, Holly, dogs got to eat.
That's right, Jeremy. Hit that subscribe button and never miss an episode of the Orange is Oranger Browns podcast on the Press Play Podcast Network.
Looking for new insights on the Cleveland sports scene with a unique side of Cleveland sports history? Then you found the perfect podcast. I'm John Sable.
And I'm Scott Sable, and we're hosts of the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, a podcast about Cleveland sports, but not your typical podcast about the land's sports teams. Join us as we embark on a journey of sharing a unique and historical side of Cleveland sports history with the help of some former Cleveland sports stars and other historical figures.
All right here on the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
For the Dennis Maniloff Show, I'll tap into my 40-plus years of following Cleveland sports and 30-plus years of writing and talking about them, so as to bring you informed opinions and analysis of your favorite players and teams. I also will monitor the national sports scene and, when warranted, step out of the toy department and into the real world. And I'll always be on the lookout for special guests. By all means, join us.
And we continue with the Regi and Rhoda podcast powered by MGM Northfieldpark. My goodness, go check them out. Have some fun. Northfieldpark, your home for live and simulcast racing, free admission, free parking every day at Northfieldpark. Michael, down 20-0, as we mentioned in our opening segment. The Browns finally get on the board, make it 20-7. A turnover, they hold to a field goal. It's 23-7. Hail Mary. The prayer was answered. Donovan Peoples-Jones with both touchdown catches today for the Browns. So going into the locker room, Michael, 23-14, for as crappy as they played, for as awful as they played, they were dominated in the first half. They were only down, luckily, 9 points, and they come out, Michael, get a stop on the first series of the third quarter, and you're thinking, okay, here we go. The momentum's carried over. Wrong. And then it just spiraled out of control from there on the scoreboard and with all the injuries.
Yeah, certainly, of course, not having your two starting O-tackles, that doesn't help. But was it just me today? Ken, did you have it in front of you? Because I got upset. I didn't even want to look at it, but I know you're better at doing that than me.
What's that?
How many times did the Browns run the football today?
All right, here we go. We're going to break it down for you. Running. The leading rusher for the Cleveland Browns today before he left with an injury was Kareem Hunt, 14 carries, 66 yards as a team, 19 rushes, 73 yards for a 3.8 yards per carry average. So only 19 rushes today.
And they threw it how many times?
31 times. They only had the ball for 50 plays.
50 plays today. See, to me, and again, and I'm sorry, I cannot use the so even though, and I don't know, we might, I hope not. We may not see Kareem Hunt for the rest of the year. I don't know. That looked bad to me, Ken. I don't know.
It's either what we like to call on the Kenny and JT show on WHBC, the Lonnie Chisenhall injury, a calf strain, which can keep you out, as we know from Lonnie, for many, many weeks or months and shorten your career, or it's worse than a Lonnie Chisenhall calf strain. It's the Achilles, which I'm hoping it's not.
Yeah.
And they carted him off. That's never a good sign. Couldn't put any weight on it. So you're already down Chubb this week because of an injury. Now you're not going to have Hunt Thursday night against the Denver Broncos. You hope Chubb might be able to come back and play. If not, it's D'Ernest Johnson.
Did he get a carry today, by the way? Did D'Ernest Johnson get a carry?
He got some garbage carries. He got, not in
the guts of the game, though, right?
Right. What did he carry the ball? D'Ernest Johnson, 1 carry, 2 yards. I'm sorry, only 1 carry.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't understand that. But the bottom line to me is, how about the first quarter? Did you see that all? I know we're supposed to move past that now, but
yeah, that's all right.
All 4 and 5 wide.
Yeah.
Didn't even try to establish a run today. Didn't even try to establish it at all. Well, to me, you're playing in any defense hands. When you're going empty, Ken, I mean, you're not running the football when you're going empty. And the Browns went empty almost exclusively in the first half.
And I'm glad you brought it up. They're known for their run blocking when they have their 5 best guys there, right? Not their pass blocking as much. We've seen Baker getting hit all season long when Conklin and Wills have been there as the bookends. Those guys are out today, so you're going to empty it and throw even more early on instead of doing what you do best, run the damn football. So if we're going to question Joe Woods and what is he doing with his game plan defensively, we have to question Kevin Stefanski just as much as Alex Van Pelt.
A little bit, because that was poor today. That was poor today on their part. And, I'll say it again for those of you that think Kenny and I'd say more me, I have start saying how much I really like Kevin Stefanski. I think I like his, at times. But you know what? These last 2 weeks, man, he's made me kind of I don't understand what he thinks he's trying to accomplish in some of these situations and what he's dialing up offensively. Because I don't think it's for, do your job, Kenny. Well, you got your players. You don't need to do your job. Hey, Kevin, you and Alex Van Pelt, do your damn jobs, because you're supposed to be putting this unit of yours in the best position for them to be able to succeed and the football team to win. I don't think they are, Ken. I do not think they are in the last couple of weeks.
I can't argue with you. Michael. I really can't. And today when I saw that too, I'm like, empty again. And the first 3 passes weren't to a wide receiver. It was running back, tight end, running back, I think, the first, and then finally on the 4th or 5th pass, they looked to the wide receiver in that. So, yeah, I'm starting to wonder about his I'm wondering if he's looking at his defense, Stefanski, and is saying, you know what? It's not going to be much better than last year. So maybe that's why he's going for 7 instead of 3, thinking I got to score touchdowns and not kick field goals. But when you're having trouble on 4th and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever it is, you better kick the field goal until you get that part figured out. And you're minus your starting left tackle and your right tackle today too. So take the damn points in that situation, right?
Yeah, absolutely. 1,000,000%. And so, I put it out on Twitter today, and, there were a couple people that didn't agree with me. That's fine. That's cool. But I'm not getting off this. I'll tell you, you can tune me out all you want. You continue to choose to not take points. And remember, this is early in the football game.
Yeah.
Take the points and even yourself out when you're behind. Can I agree with what you said a moment ago? Hey, at times when you're ahead, okay, I like the aggressiveness, but not when you are behind early. No.
And not when you haven't had success.
You haven't had any success.
Right.
Again, evens you out, gives you a positive feeling. You see to put the 3 on the board. Do you know, Kenny, what happened right after that? That he went for it on 4th and 4. Yeah, 75-yard touchdown drive. Now it's 14-0.
Yep. No, I feel you, Michael. And something's got to change there. Maybe now with these injuries and Baker, and let's get into these injuries now. Baker, again, on a turnover, re-aggravates the shoulder injury. It was partially torn before the labrum in his left shoulder. They're going to have an MRI. His arm was in a sling. He said it feels like shit. And worse than it was after the second game or third game of the season, whenever that happened. So he's getting imaged tomorrow. I believe in watching it. Yeah. I believe it's not partially torn anymore. I think the labrum's gone. Now, can he play through that? He says he will play Thursday night. That was his post-game comment. He expects to play Thursday night, no matter what, against Denver. We'll see. But he wasn't the only one with a serious injury today. We mentioned Kareem Hunt, a calf injury. We hope that's what we're keeping our fingers crossed for, it's just a calf and not further down where the Achilles comes into play. Who else? OBJ. I guess that shoulder popped out again, right? And then they popped it back in and he came back in. So maybe we shouldn't be too concerned because he came back in, caught a couple of balls after he was injured and left the game, probably got a dart to numb it up, for the rest of the game. So, but that's something to watch. And then JOK with an ankle injury. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah left in the 4th quarter with an ankle injury. And that's on top of Chubb already being out, Conklin out, and Will's already being out. So there's 7 starters right there on a short week when you've got to turn around and play Denver Thursday night at home.
Yeah. Well, it's certain this is not ideal, right? None of this is ideal. But, Kenny, we're going to find out a lot about them. Wouldn't you agree? We're going to find out what constitutes this Cleveland Browns football team, because they do have to come out again. And it's a game let's be honest, it's a game everybody expects them to win against the Denver Broncos.
It's a must win now, Michael. That's a must win. You can't lose to Denver at home and fall to 3-4. I know it's only game 7. That's a must win for the Cleveland Browns on Thursday night.
So that's going to, again, I think, define for us a whole lot more. My greater concerns right now, though, are about the approach, game plans, ideals of who they are on both sides of the ball, Ken. Both sides of the ball. I know you want to discuss Baker Mayfield, and I want you to go ahead and do that, because I know you have a lot to say about Baker, and I get it, and I like to hear what you have to say about Baker. Well, I'm going to tell you, on both sides of the football right now, there's leakage, man. There's leakage that's shown up here, and it can't continue to fester here, or all the ideals and all the expectations, I tell you what, are going to go up in a real big puff of smoke, because there's a lot of things on both sides of the ball that need to get taken care of, like right now.
Michael, Baker Mayfield, is he not in the greatest position to win today with his starting tackles both out? That's fair. Okay. I'll throw that out there. Was he not put in the best position, I think, by his head coach with those two things taken into consideration, emptying the backfield there? Yes, that's fair as well. So there's two things where, okay, you can use them. I don't want to say as excuses, but those are facts, right? You can say that in favor of him.
Well, there still, again, go real quick, goes into the coaching staff letting their team down. Go ahead. Keep going.
Okay. Having said that, though, knowing you're behind, yes, you want to make a play, but live to play another down needs to be in the back of Baker's mind. I think he's trying way too hard right now because the offense is struggling a little bit with the injury situation. And so he felt like he had to put it on his good shoulder and bad shoulder, right, to be the playmaker today. And that's the area where I don't think he will excel as an NFL quarterback. I don't think he's a playmaker. I think he's a game manager. When everybody's healthy, when the running game's good, when you got the bookend tackles, you got the two-headed monster of Chubb and Hunt, and you got the receivers and the tight ends, distribute the football, don't turn it over. He's fine. He's a good NFL quarterback. But when you have situations where the team needs you to step your game up and be more than just a game manager, be a playmaker, I don't think he's capable of doing that. He threw one touchdown pass today that I consider a legit touchdown pass. The other was a Hail Mary, and it was answered. Those aren't, they could throw 10 of those a year, and they're only going to catch one of them, and they caught their one today. Okay?
You're right about that. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
The interception, again, way off target. And
real
luckily,
bad throw.
Yeah. Luckily, they stepped out of bounds, brought the ball back to like the 30. The sack, he's got to feel the pressure there. He's got to tuck that football away both times, right? Yeah. And that's how he hurt himself again, reaching for a fumble, and the arm was extended. And J.J. Watt, I thought he, busted up his entire shoulder and wasn't going to come back the way J.J. Watt was signaling to the sidelines and everything. But I give Baker credit. He's a tough SOB. He wanted to come back in. He did. He says he's going to play Thursday. We'll see. Might not be a bad idea for Kevin Stefanski, to your point, where he steps in and says, hey, Bake, we all know you're tough. You've shown that. Okay, we get it. You're tough. Sit your ass down. Take the extra time off since we're playing on Thursday, and then we won't play till the following Sunday against the Steelers.
Yeah.
Get as much rest as you can for that shoulder, and we'll get you ready for that. That's why we brought Case Keenum here.
That's why we're paying him $6 million a year. I think he's the highest paid backup quarterback in the league.
Okay, so take it off. And what you're also doing there, in case you don't have Wills and Conklin again, you're not subjecting him to more hits. He was sacked 5 more times today, right? Let Case Keenum absorb those hits. And so for me, I just, like I said, everybody, give Baker the cut. No, I needed to see him do it this year where, we know he's tough and there's no questioning that, but I don't think he's a 35. I'll be honest with you. I'd offer him about $25 million a year and see where it goes from there. That would be my range, 25 to 30 tops. I'm not going over 30 for Baker Mayfield, but having said what I just said, Michael, and I'll shut up here.
Oh, you're fine, man. Go ahead. Let it roll.
No, you can put to bed those contract extension talks right now. That's overdone with. I don't even want to talk about it the rest of the season because he doesn't deserve it. And I don't think there's a need to talk about it. They need to figure a bunch of other stuff out and not worry about whether they should pay Baker moving forward.
Yeah, it's just another tough call now. It really is. And I think there's a lot of us. I'll certainly put my hand in the air. See, I want it so badly for you Browns fans that, you went out and I know it's John Dorsey, but you went out and got this quarterback, a guy that came in here with, tremendous acclaim, Heisman Trophy year, took Oklahoma to the playoffs. And you want that to, manifest itself into him being, certainly one of the ones that you say, as Kenny just said, that can you go out and win a football game when you need to go win a football game? Well, we've seen that a couple of times from Baker, but I'm with you in that there's certainly more of this book to be written, Ken. There's certainly more that is there's other chapters that got to unfold here before you start putting Baker into the same consciousness, right? If you want to start discussing, I know he's not having a great year now, but you still got to have Patrick Mahomes there, and you still got to have certainly Aaron Rodgers there. And I don't care if he's 104 years old, you still got to have Tom Brady there.
Yeah.
So, there's chapters to be written. I think we all, as Browns, you want to see Browns fans feel good. Well, you want to see this quarterback that was drafted overall number 1, but there's still things to do. I agree with you. There's still things that have to be achieved, I think, for that to happen. As far as, I think we said it last week, Cammy, hey, man, Andrew Berry, he's got some real big decisions to make, and with the Haslam's money, right?
Yes, he does.
Real big decision that it starts with Baker Mayfield. So, you'd like to think that all those questions would be answered, Ken, this year, that Mayfield would go out and hopefully he can win some football games in the fourth quarter, right? I think that's what you're talking about. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's what you're talking about, right?
Michael, 2 examples before today. Kansas City had a chance to bring him back, didn't do so. San Diego had a chance to either close it out or after they failed to do that, had a chance to go down and win the game again, failed to do so. Today, they relied on him with everybody hurt to try and win the game from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. So there's 3 instances this year where Baker was called upon, given the opportunity, right, to show he's worth that money, that all these quarterbacks are getting paid, and he has failed, in my opinion, all 3 times. Not all his fault, but when you're the quarterback, you get all the glory when it goes well, you get all the grief when it goes bad, and that's why you get paid that kind of money. But I'm not ready to give him, like I said, anything north of 30, if that.
It's going to be a large piece of what the Browns are and how they expect them, the whole team to play out going forward. So, we'll see. I think the bottom line is I agree with that. If you want to tell me, you're a elite quarterback, then you got to win games in the fourth quarter. You got to put your team, and when you're behind or tied, and you got to go win games and put the football in the end zone, win the football game. If it's field goal that wins it, great. But you as the quarterback, that's on you, man. You got to put your football team in that position, and that's how you get those terms of he's great, he's elite, yep. He's with Rodgers and Brady and Mahomes. And so unwritten still, Kenny, we got a lot more to see with it.
All right, let's get our final break in, Michael, and then we'll come back. We'll wrap up this edition of the MGM Northfield Park Reg-I and Rhoda podcast right after this.
Hey, everybody, it's Sam Amico from Cavs on the Break NBA podcast. Be sure to give us a listen for all your Cleveland Cavaliers recaps, analysis, breakdowns, draft talk, free agency. The list goes on and on. Give us a listen, Cavs on the Break NBA podcast.
Hey, I'm Jason.
And I'm Gary, and we love ball cards.
And if you love ball cards too, good news. You just found your new favorite podcast. From breaks to grading.
And from collecting to flipping, join us on the Ball Card Show.
The sports podcast for the sports collector.
Hello, Brooks here with the Books with Brooks monthly book club podcast. We read one book a month and then we talk about it. Books like Stephen King's The Shining or Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. If you're on the hunt for book recommendations and enjoy sparkling conversation, come read along with us and then listen in.
Hey everyone, it's JD from the Hyman Podcast. Backed by popular demand, I'm excited to let you know that new episodes of the Hyman Podcast will drop every other Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. We're going to continue the conversations we started last season and keep having those hard conversations. There is so much in store for you this season, and I'm excited to share it with you. Subscribe today so you don't miss a single moment. The Hyman Podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Let's put the finishing touches, Michael Regai, on this edition of the R&R Podcast as we wrap up the Browns' 37-14 debacle at home to the Arizona Cardinals, who are now 6-0 on the year, only undefeated team in the National Football League. The Browns, as Kevin Stefanski said after the game, we're just an average football team. You are what your record says you are. You're 3-3. You beat some crappy teams. You lost to the playoff contending teams. You're 3-3 with a quick turnaround Thursday night at home. Thank goodness it's the Denver Broncos. But the big question is, who will be able to suit up for the Cleveland Browns in that contest against Denver with all of these injuries? And Michael, through 6 games, I got to say, the way I'm feeling, I picked them to go 11-6 and win the division on a tiebreaker over the Ravens. Ravens are, well, far better than the Browns right now at 5-1. Lamar Jackson making plays. Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals, in second place at 4-2, making plays. Hell, even Ben Roethlisberger, as we're talking right now, they're up 14-0 on the hapless Seattle Seahawks, but Ben's making a few plays. This team, very disappointing through the first 6 games as we get ready for that Thursday night affair.
Bottom line is disappointing, which is 3-3, as you just laid out, and they're looking like that right now. They're on the downslope, looking up. And listen, I know nobody's going to feel sorry for you. You've got to find a way to, all these expectations, and we're either going to find out, Kenny, in the next 3 months whether all these expectations and the way this football team is perceived was flat out just a bunch of crap because they aren't that good. Or we're going to find out that this football team, you just said the head coach called them average. Well, are they going to show everybody that they're far more than that? You had them at what? You 11-6. I'm at 12-5. And, I'm hoping you and I aren't going to look like complete fools if they decide to come in at 7-10 or something like that. And we sit here now. Do I think that's going to happen? Well, no, but I'm going to be. I didn't think they were going to be 3-3 through the first 6 either.
I had them at 4-2.
Yeah. So that means nothing, man. Nothing. 4-2, 5-1, whatever. They're 3-3. We'll find out a lot about them. A lot who they are. Are they willing to, now go to work and get unified? I'm beginning to wonder too, Kenny, if there aren't. Again, we got to go into this more. And we got to see things to look into it more. Do you think there's maybe some, we've seen it before. It won't be the first time. If there's a little bit of division, offense, defense, that, one's kind of looking at the other like, damn, man, how are we supposed to win? You ain't getting a job done for us like that. And that could go both ways. Defense could feel that way about the offense. As we've talked about, the offense could say we got to score 50 to win. 50, you know what I mean? It happens in this league. You know that.
Reg, don't be surprised if we hear about a players-only meeting, right? Sometime here soon. Especially maybe. If they lose. Hey, they go 3-4 and lose on Thursday night. You'll definitely have some kind of meeting.
Because they'll be off for 10
players.
days then.
Yeah,
because some will go down then.
Yeah. So no, that's a possibility, Michael, because it ain't right. What's going on right now? All the talent this team has, we said, paper champions before the season, right? Looking on paper, what they did in the draft, free agency, trades, whatever, offense, defense, and they're 3-3, and they're going to be in 3rd place. Okay, when this week 6 comes to an end behind Ravens 5-1, Bengals 4-2. Steelers look like they'll take care of Seattle tonight. So Ravens in 1st, Bengals in 2nd, Browns and Steelers tied for 3rd at 3-3.
Yep.
And the Steelers, I don't think they're a good team, but after the Denver game, we'll find out. The Browns and the Steelers will play that Halloween weekend.
Well, and nothing, you can't do anything about it, but I am concerned, and you brought it up a couple times. I'm real concerned about the offensive line injuries right now.
Yeah.
Again, it's not an excuse for Baker Mayfield. It doesn't help, though. I got Jack Conklin and Jed Wills out. your two bookend O tackles. And as we saw today, boy, it wasn't good in what was out there to try to play those two positions. So again, hopefully this football team could get healthy and play with the people that you expect to be in those positions. But that's not an excuse. That's not a reason to use for playing poorly. It's just I just hope there's not a division in the locker room right now, because Kenny, there's some things, as we've said, this is what this show's been about. There's some things on each side of the football that just are nowhere near what we were expecting. Nowhere near. And in knowing professional sports, unfortunately, all it takes is for somebody to assume they're getting called out by one of their teammates, Kenny, and then there you go.
Yep.
There you go. Now it's on. So,
well, Kevin Stefanski's going to need to step in, right? This is where you, as a coach, it's not always X's and O's, right? As Mike Hargrove will tell you about those Indians teams, man. He was a psychologist and a baseball manager, all wrapped up into one, trying to handle all those egos and the mentality of all those different players. Same in a locker room with more players. It was only 25 for Grover. Stefanski's got to deal with at least 53, if not more. So Kevin Stefanski is going to earn his keep as the AFC, or I should say the NFL Coach of the Year from last year in these next couple of days, and then those 10 days off before they play the Steelers again.
No, I was thinking about trying to keep it a little lighthearted today. I remember a couple of times, with Kevin Stefanski, and did a very, very good job, as we know, as the OC of the Minnesota Vikings. But Kenny, I even called a buddy of mine right here in Minnesota. I said, hey, do you think that there's any chance that maybe when he was the OC, Stefanski would go to Mike Zimmer and say, hey, Mike, 4th and 4, we're at their 19, let's go for this. But the difference was Zimmer said, shut the hell up. Field goal unit, get out there. Right?
Yeah. Especially down 7-0, right?
Yeah. There's the difference. So, he didn't have he was the OC, but he sure as hell didn't have the luxury of going to Zimmer and he couldn't be the one to say, field goal team, stay here. We're going for it. So, try to little something lighthearted there.
Yeah, there we go.
We wind up here, but let's hope. It's got to be Thursday night. There's no time for that now. You don't get your normal day off if you're the players, right? You got to go in
Monday, no day off, none of that stuff.
You got to go in tomorrow. You got to go in Tuesday now, the normal day off, and then of course they'll be light. And you hope you get your injured to be able to get close to being back on the football field, but it's not looking good for some of them.
Michael, do you think there's anything to the injuries that have occurred, how many the Browns are having, and the country club atmosphere training camp supposedly that was going on? I know you want to keep your guys healthy, and I'm all for that, right? Yeah. But and you look up and down, offense and defense, guys have been in and out of the lineup. I'm just wondering, why so many injuries? And it's not just the Browns. Other teams are dealing with it, but it just seems like the Browns' injuries are impactful on both sides of the ball with key players, and it keeps happening. Do you think there's anything to that with the way camps are being run these days in the NFL?
Well, just painting with a broad brush in general, I do think there is, Kenny, but that's all an NFL players union thing, man, in terms of, what they go. They don't hit very much anymore in practice.
Right.
It's called thud, which means you just kind of, you go put a block on or you just hold your guy up there and you just, just a quick thud. But there's no hitting going on in training camps, very rarely anymore. I was good to say, the Browns are an atrocious tackling team too, especially in the secondary.
Ooh, boy. How about the one touchdown pass? Hopkins.
Yep.
He made, I'm trying to remember, 20.
I know exactly the one you're talking about. The quick, tunnel screen.
Yep.
It was Delpit and it was JOK.
And also, I think Greedy Williams might have swung and missed on that play as well. I counted 3.
Sure.
So there were 3 guys there that swung and missed. And he gets the ball into the end zone.
That's right.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. The tackling.
They don't tackle well at all. And so again, is that the new age of the NFL where half the time you feel like, are they playing flag football today? I don't know, Ken, but the good thing is we don't have to wait 7 full days.
I guess
it's just 4 now to see what they get figured out. Because they got to win this home game against Denver. They
must win, Michael. I'm calling
it a must win.
Absolutely,
I don't
must
like
win.
saying that, especially if it goes wrong. But
yeah, I'm just well, it better not. Then that's why it's a must win. Then you don't have you win it, you feel good.
Touche,
right?
Baby, touche. I know
it's the freaking Denver Broncos who are they didn't play anybody their first 3 games. They're terrible, and they're coming off on a short week, and they're coming to your place. Yeah, you're dinged up, but you got to fight. I don't care if it's 7-6, if it's 3-2, if it's 21-20, you find a way to beat Denver and then get your rest for those 10 days and get ready for the Steelers. You cannot be 3-4 going into that Steelers game. Must win on Thursday night.
It's 4-3 or bust, I guess.
Yes,
for this football team. And again, I want to feel the positivity of me. I want to feel that they're going to go in this short week and get it done in the proper direction. I am glad it's not another, team that we know is a playoff team, though, Kenny, because I can tell you, I wouldn't feel as good then. That's got me concerned. They're just not playing well against the better teams. They're not. They're 0-3.
The
0-3 against the better teams. Yes,
yep,
very disappointing for me. Yeah. Bottom line, end of night, very disappointing that they're 0-3 against the 3 best teams they've played.
That stands out like a sore thumb, no question about it. All right, Michael, we'll wrap this baby up. We could go for another 2 or 3 hours.
We could.
But we'd be repeating a lot of things that we just, dialogued there for the last hour on this edition of the R&R podcast. So we'll do this again after their game on Thursday night. The must-win Thursday night game against the Broncos. We'll see if we have something better to discuss in the post-game edition of the R&R podcast. All right, Reg?
Yeah, man, well done, and I look forward to Thursday for a whole lot of different reasons. Let's hope it's a good one when we talk again.
Sounds good. Thanks to everybody out there in the podcastosphere for checking us out here on the Press Play Podcast Network. Thanks again to Chase Smith, pinch hitting for Dave Emmert, our producer tonight. And thanks to you all out there for listening. We'll talk to you again after the Browns and Broncos.